Hey there, YouTubers. My name is Alex. Welcome back to Titan Bear Gaming. Today we're continuing to look through the Tal'Dorei campaign setting, specifically looking at the Runechild Sorcerer's origin. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Runechild. Now, the thematic content for the Runechild is a very interesting one. I really give Matt Mercer a lot of props for coming up with this idea. And the basic concept is that as a sorcerer, since the whole point of a sorcerer is that your magic comes from within, it comes from yourself, it comes from your lineage, maybe your bloodline, or perhaps some kind of event happened to you or near you that then permanently altered your essence, at least as far as its ability to tap magical powers is concerned. And so the Runechild has a very interesting take on that style of magic user. And the basic concept for the Runechild is that by using your magic, the weave of magic or the flow of magic that you control, your body acts as kind of a battery or a capacitor for that magical energy. So anytime that you're casting magic spells, specifically when you're using sorcery points, being a sorcerer, whenever you're using your sorcery points, there's like a feedback mechanism that happens where your body starts to entrap these magical energies, and then you can turn around and do things with them. Overall, the Runechild adds more of a corporeal, using your own body, a little more of a physical presence to what would otherwise be a straight caster, which I think is very cool and very fun. I have a tendency to think of the Runechild here as being something akin to, visually speaking, the character Dr. Manhattan from the Watchmen comics and movie, right, where your Runechild in particular is going to be casting spells, and the feedback of that magic is going to be storing up magic energy, specifically in the appearance of runes that light up on your body, whether you envision that as being tattoos or scarring or something that's invisible and only manifests as something that's visible when it's actually activated. Your body then becomes charged up as like a mana battery, and then you can do things with it. Now, Matt Mercer does go so far as to say that in the history of Tal'Dorei, and maybe even for your own setting, if you were planning on transplanting this into your own game, that anybody who has less scruples and interested in magical research or trying to study the presence of magic, especially as it pertains to living beings, might hunt these rune children down, since the embodiment of their magic is so singular and is so unique in terms of how it's stored in their body, and then they can use it again afterwards. I thought it was a very cool flavor bit. So let's go ahead and cover the powers. At first level, you have your essence runes, and this is your basic mechanism for the Runechild. It effectively boils down to this. Whenever you cast a spell and you use sorcery points, you then light up one of your inert runes that is somewhere on your body. At the end of a turn where you spend any number of sorcery points, you then gain that number of runes on your body that now become charged essence runes. And it's with these charged essence runes that you then get to use the rest of the powers that you get as a Runechild. Now, it also warrants stating here that as a bonus action, you can then, instead of leveraging having cast a spell using sorcery points, you can instead just use a flat-out bonus action to convert unused sorcery points into charged runes. So you do have that flexibility in your action economy. As a fun little flavor bit, if you've got more than 5 charged runes, you begin to glow with arcane energy, right? This is where we start to get to the Dr. Manhattan reference that I had from before. Your body literally emits light. It is also worth mentioning that if you complete a long rest, your charged runes become inert. So it's definitely trying to convey an idea, thematically speaking, that it is your own life force and your own use of magic and your own casting of magic. It's a very active concept, because once you go to sleep, you'll lose them all. So let's go ahead and cover the first power, okay? This is Glyph of Aegis. This is a defensive style power. The way that it works is whenever you take damage from an attack, a hazard, or a spell, props to Mercer for remembering to put hazard in there, you can use a reaction to expend any number of your charged runes. For each one, you roll 1d6, and you can subtract that from the damage that you would have taken, again, from an attack, hazard, or spell. Very cool, great way to help keep your person a little safer. At 6th level, you can then use an action to expend one charged rune, temporarily transferring one of these glyphs of Aegis to a creature that you touch. A creature can only hold a single glyph, it lasts for 1 hour, and is expended the next time that the creature is damaged by an attack, hazard, or spell, at which point that individual then gets the 1d6 reduction on whatever damage type they were taking. The glyph is then lost at that point. It's a cool power. I like how it's got the ability to hand it to somebody else, even as only a minor benefit. This could work out really well, especially if you find yourself rune rich and you know that your whole party is about to run into a trap-filled room. At 6th level, you pick up Sigillic Augmentation, and this one is a cool one that lets you convert runes into improving your physical capabilities. Now, you basically get to pick Dexterity, Strength, or Constitution, and as a bonus action, you can spend a charged rune, and then until the start of your next turn, you'll have advantage on checks involving Strength, Dexterity, or Constitution, whichever one that you picked. You do have the ability to extend the duration of this by simply expending more and more runes. But again, it could be very cool and useful if you find yourself, like I keep describing, in a dungeon setting where you anticipate what the problem is, and you might need a little bit of an extra die roll to get you through it. At 6th level, you also pick up Manifest Inscriptions, which does have another cool power to it. The light that you emit from yourself gets an extra bonus effect for it. As an action, you can expend a charged rune to cause any hidden magical marks, runes, wards, or glyphs, a whole bunch of different kinds of magical writing, within 15 feet of you to reveal themselves with a glow for 1 round. This glow is considered dim light for a 5-foot radius around the mark or glyph. So you're basically a walking, revealing lantern of revealing, to see hidden glyphs, hidden magic writing, or anything of its like. At 14th level, you pick up Runic Torrent, which is a super powerful ability and is really key for when you're that high level of a character. Remember, 14th level. You channel your stored runic energy to instill your spells with overwhelming arcane power. Whenever you cast a spell, you can expend a number of charged runes equal to the spell's level, so this can get costly pretty quick, to allow that spell to ignore any resistance or immunity the target may have. This is a big one for when you're dealing with the higher level monsters, or if you're going down into some of the outer planes and you're dealing with things that may otherwise possess a resistance or a damage immunity to your type of damaging spells. And at 18th level, your capstone ability, if you will, is called Arcane Exemplar Form. And it's very cool. It's very Dr. Manhattan again in this particular case. You can use a bonus action and expend 6 or more charged runes to temporarily become a being of pure magical energy. You're just an energy person. The new form lasts for 3 rounds, plus 1 round for each charged rune expended over 6, so you've got a few different rounds to use it on. You gain the following benefits while you're in this form. You can fly with a speed of 40. Your spell save DC is increased by 2, which can be really substantial when you're this high in the game. You have resistance to damage from spells. All spells of any type, you have resistance to the damage from it. And when you cast a spell of 1st level or higher, so anything that has a spell slot associated with it, you regain hit points equal to the spell's level. It's a good trickle of hit points to come in, which is extra important considering your resistance is only actually applied to spell damage. So if you're being hit with a weapon, or if you're being physically harried by something, having the additional health return just as a passive effect on whenever you're casting spells can be really beneficial. And remember, because the action economy that you have from your runes, whether they're inert and then becoming charged or whatnot, happens as a result of you using your sorcery points, right? Which you've got the ability to either spend a bonus action to artificially convert sorcery points into charged runes, but you also have the ability to use your sorcery points to create more spells, right? And so since your power for charging your runes is technically where you spent a number of sorcery points, you don't actually have to cast magic in order to make this happen. So even on a turn where you simply spent the action economy to convert latent sorcery points that you had into additional spell slots, that still charges up your runes. So by the time that you're up to 18th level and you're in this Arcane Exemplar form, the number of charged runes that you have at your disposal is going to be pretty high, and it's going to be kind of this ebb and flow that's happening every round of combat. When your Arcane Exemplar form ends, you can't move or take actions until after your next turn, as your body recovers from the transformation. Once you use this feature, you must finish a long rest before you can use it again. So you have kind of a temporary period of paralysis afterwards as you're kind of reformulating yourself, converting back from being a being of pure magical energy. So those are all the powers. I quite like the Runechild here. I think that for something as simple as an archetype, it defines and contains a very well-defined thematic space for a sorcerer that's very fundamentally different from the typical dragon sorcerer or storm sorcerer or wild magic sorcerer. This one, has a little bit of it's just the stuff of magic, so it's kind of similar to your wild magic sorcerer, but the thematic aspect is fundamentally different. The way that your spells intersect with your powers and the actual types of powers that you have are very different. So I think that it's very cool. I really like the nod to improving your sorcerer's physical capabilities. If you need to be a strong man for a quick second, or if you need to be a fast man for a quick second, or if you need to be able to make constitution saves, or actually, I apologize, it's for ability checks, not saves. But if you do need to make some kind of ability check where you need to be doing something with your body, if you're balancing as you're walking across something, or if you need to make a long jump or climbing or something like that, I like that as a useful means of filling in what is usually a hole for the sorcerer class. I think that this is a elegant way of helping to make it so that the magic that you do have is something that a character who is a Runechild would come to rely upon, right? The part of what makes this subclass feel so good to me is that I can picture a Runechild in my head as someone that breathes their own magic or breathes the magic that's around them, because this is so pervasive through their being, through their character, through the things that they find themselves doing on any given day of adventuring or their daily life or whatever. They rely on their own magical essence and their own powers to get by in the world. And I think that it creates a very well illustrated character concept. I also like the kind of science and technology avenue that this introduces to a campaign setting, which is saying that if an individual's body is capable of storing up magical power like this, that as a particular force could be wielded if they can figure, if researchers or scientists or whoever can figure out how to harness that power, or figure out how that power works. I think that's also a very fun thematic aspect to throw into a campaign setting. So I give the Runechild 2 big thumbs up, and I'm very excited to see this one played at my own table. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you liked it. We post a new one every Tuesday, so go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and click the little notification bell at the same time to get a pop-up when those videos do go up. If you're hungry for more Titan Bear Gaming content, head on over to our Patreon, where our subscribers get access to even more content. We post special unreleased videos, bloopers reels, outtakes, sneak peeks for upcoming episodes. And for Patreon subscribers only, we release our weekly podcast with episodes going out every Monday. You can find us on social media at Titan Bear Gaming. Until next time I see you, have more fun, would you? It's good for you.